morning. Good
are
morning.
you are live this morning, Rebecca,
Great. Good morning to everybody.
and you're alive this morning. That's good
I
too.
am alive. I'm moving. We'll put it that way.
It's been a long weekend though, has it not?
It has been a long weekend.
Yeah.
I was a little under the weather. Not sure. I tend to get headaches once in a while that put me under, and this one was not a good one. So
hmm
so I feel 78% better. So
78%. Wow, that's getting pretty precise.
I'm
Pretty
I'm on the
precise.
I'm on the uphill, I think.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, you chose a topic for today, Rebecca, that might go along with how you feel on a day-to-day basis. What
Yes,
what are we
and
talking
this
about?
since we've started Monday Mindshift, I'm not sure if we've ever really touched on this. So this was kind of a maybe a step back to the beginning, and I just wanted to connect on it again because we talk a lot about the mind shift and the mindset and thinking, but never really why it matters to have that mindset mind shift change.
hmm Yeah, so that's an interesting thought, Rebecca. I mean, when you really think about it, and you really think about why it's important to have your mind, what a mindset is, and when you should have a mind shift, right? We call this Monday mind shift, and the thing that I've learned about mindset, it means that we're set, we're stuck we're stuck on something, and it means that we're currently set on a thought, an idea, and sometimes we need a little pull. Sometimes we need a little pull. We need a little tug to get us off of that mindset and shifted onto something better, onto something bigger, onto something with more possibility, you know? And that's what I love about Monday Mind Shift is we have the ability to come in here and just think, is our mindset right? That's kind of my thoughts. What are yours?
That's part of it, doing coaching and things like that. What I've learned, we believe in our clients and we know their potential and we know where they can go, but they have to believe that.
Right,
They have to understand that and they have
right.
to have that mindset because we can believe in them all we want to, but if they don't believe in themselves or they don't believe in what they're doing, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, it's when you think about mindset, if you actually sit down and think about it, it is such a huge part of our everyday, from the time that we wake up in the morning until the time that we go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
What we believe and what we believe about ourselves, about society, about life, it dictates how our day goes and how we function.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've learned over the years, also, Rebecca, is if I'm going to be really good at connecting with people in the sales space, one of the most important things for me, and this follows along with what you just said, one of the most important things for me, I have to understand what someone believes and why they believe it. And asking those opinion based questions about where that belief came from. I'll go in and I'll connect with somebody and they'll have a belief system on water, or a belief system on soil health or regenerative ag or whatever the case may be. And it's very curious. I'm very, very curious where those thoughts came from, where that belief system came from. And I do it with no judgment, because I can promise you that my thoughts have come from somewhere. My ideas have come from somewhere. Even inspiration in spirit, our ideas come from a place of something that has either triggered it, trained it, has done something within our mind. And that is something that I've learned over the years, is to make sure I don't hold judgment towards someone on a mindset or a belief system, because I have them and they're not always going to align with another person. So one of the things that we can do is really ask those opinion based questions to help people open up and to express a little bit of where they're coming from, and why they believe what they believe, and why they adhere to what they adhere to. Very, very few people intentionally want to fail in life, right? Most everybody wants to be successful in life. But a lot of people don't realize that sometimes our mindset is the number one thing that holds us back from success. The number one thing. And if we're unwilling to change that mindset, and we're unwilling to get a tug and get out of that stuck position, we may not have the success that we really want.
And sometimes it's really hard because where some of our beliefs came from, it's hard to get past that. It
Mm-hmm.
could have been from family. It could have been, great granny used to tell me all the time that this is um how it's supposed to be, or this is what you should do. And
Yeah.
then come to find, I always think about and this is just trivial, but putting butter on a burn, that's what we were taught when we were young. If you got burnt, you put butter on it. And now they're saying, don't put butter on a burn. That's the worst thing, you know. And it's where you've got those beliefs. It could have been the influence of a teacher or a friend. And come to find out as you got older, maybe, oh, maybe that's not quite right. But that was my mentor. That was my mentor. My mentor taught me this, or told me this, or helped me believe this. And to come and question that now, I mean, being my age now, questioning a lot of things that I have believed through my years, and mine came from, I watched a lot of TV growing up, watched a lot of movies growing up. My family dynamics wasn't the best, and just believing things, and it took a long time because I was stuck on it. I'm like, no, this is the way it is. This is the way it is, and this is the way it should be. And I'm learning now that, maybe that wasn't quite right. So
Yeah.
you also have to be open. You have to be open to listening.
Yeah, you really do. You've got to be open. My light is not really good in here today. I don't know what's up with my light. But along those points, Rebecca, you do learn from media. You learn from those movies. We learn from those things at a very, very, very early age. And it's very important that we learn to guide our hearts. We learn to guide our minds. One of the phrases that we use at the 3i Life is to seek truth, gain wisdom, serve others, right? Seek truth, gain wisdom, serve others. You know how hard it is for people to seek truth if they don't know how? They've never really had to, and they've never really gone out of their way to intentionally seek truth. What is truth? Right? What is it? What makes one thing true and another thing untrue? And that, again, it comes back to a mindset and a challenge to ourselves to learn the processes of seeking truth. I heard John Maxwell, this has been probably 10, 12 years ago. John Maxwell was teaching on a topic, and it was, truth, awareness to truth is one of the leader's greatest assets. A leader cannot really make a great decision unless he's making that decision based on truth. It may not be truth that he likes, it may not be the truth that he wants, but you can make a great decision based on truth if you know what truth is. And that really became an eye opener for me. That became a game changer for me. And that was where, some of that idea around seek truth, gain wisdom came from, because if we cannot seek truth, if we don't know how to find that through our mindset, through our belief system, then what are we making our decisions on? Right? Where's all this coming from? And that's something that we really have to take and adhere close to our hearts, right? And make it a part of who we are on a daily basis, in my opinion. That's some of what we have to
Well,
do in our mindset.
and you do have to go seek that truth just
Mm-hmm.
because me telling say our children something that they believe that they believed from school or their best friend told them, and making sure that what I'm telling them is correct. We've always told our kids, go study it, go figure it out. And so even going and telling someone, you go to a farm and you talk about water and their belief is such and such, and in your mind that that's not true. Well, you have to examine, okay, is what I'm telling them true? Or did I learn it from somebody? Because here again goes back to, you have one book that says eggs are bad for you, and you have the other book that says eggs are good for you. How do you know which one that you need to listen to?
Mm-hmm.
So people are going to have their beliefs. People are going to have their, you have to figure out what the truth is.
Rebecca, you're bringing up a really, really great topic, and I'm reminded of a meeting event that we had in Gearing, Nebraska. Man, probably 8 years ago already. Um, that the topic there, the topic in that meeting was, how do you recognize truth? And in the ideas behind truth, how do you know, like in other words, which one of those books are you reading from, and how do you know which one is true and which one isn't? And that was a really great discussion. And one of the things that I've learned over the years, and again, I learn my ideas from people, right? Things come up and I learn from other people too. But one of the things that I learned is the laws of nature cannot be broken. The laws of nature cannot be broken. They never will be. You cannot break the laws of nature for a long period of time and expect to have success. You're just not going to. If you think that you can honestly break the laws of creation, the laws of nature around you, and be successful in it, you're never going to be right. And that's really the measurement that I've learned to use, is when I'm identifying what is true, what isn't true, you play it out through the evaluation process, put it through the evaluation process against the laws of nature. And if the laws of nature align with a belief system, then you can pretty well stand on it. You can stand on it pretty hard, actually, and you can be fairly firm in that. Now, there's a whole lot of variables that play into that, but at the end of the day, that's one of the basis of foundation that I've learned to identify what is true, what isn't. Does it align with nature? Does it align with the laws of nature? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. And I think, that, I mean, that is some deeper things, but
Right. That
it
also
is
that
absolutely,
plays into our mindset, creates the paradigms in our
well, it
mind,
absolutely
right?
does.
Yeah.
So, there's the saying, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
Yep.
That plays a whole lot into our whole discussion on mindset and mind shift.
Mhm.
Um, Day to day, every day you get up, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And
That's
that's
right.
something you can encourage someone, you can um, believe in them, but there again, if they don't, it won't ever succeed.
Yeah, if they don't believe that in themselves. And the other thing with that too, and then I'm going to ask our audience to speak up here if they want to share a few things on this. Um, but one of the things that I've learned along those lines of believing in yourself, one of the very first things you have to do if you're going to be successful with that, you never point the finger of blame. You never blame somebody else. That again is a mindset. It's a mindset. When things are not working your way and things are not working out the way you want them to work out, the first thing that we have a tendency to do, and I think we're taught this from a very, very early age, we're taught to point the finger at circumstances, to point the finger at environment, where we point the finger at our peers or everybody else around us. We point the finger outside of ourselves when things are not going right for us. But yet, at the same time, and this is where we have such a conflict, when things are going right for us, we're the first ones to take credit for it,
Right.
right? We always take credit for it. Why don't we point the finger outside of ourselves when everything's going well and give everybody else credit for that? But isn't it funny how we always take that inside when it's going well and we point fingers when it's not? We have to learn how to accept it wholeheartedly, good or bad, in our own lives, that we are the cause for that. We are where that starts. If we want to make a change, we have to be that change. We have to be the one to make the change first and be that person. Otherwise, what do you even stand on with that? As if you're looking outside of yourself, that's not truth. It's gonna start in here. It's gonna start
Yeah.
in here, and that mindset has to start here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that would challenge all of us to think about is, even if that's all the only two things you align with truth on, is number one, stop pointing outside of yourself, and number two, does it align with nature? Is it, what's in here that I believe? What is in here in this person, and in what I believe, does it align with the laws of nature? Those two things will make a big difference in your life. So let's ask our audience if they have any thoughts on this. We have a few people on Zoom today, and love to hear if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn. Would love to have you guys join in here with us. So Brad Forkner, looks like you're unmuted. You have something you'd like to share, my friend?
Yeah, I just went back and because I had a comment on one of the contributions I made on LinkedIn the other day, and it was talking about what happens if the people on your team don't, aren't falling into line with your perspective. And I went back and my mention is that cookie cutter presentations are a disaster
Hmm.
because everybody brings to the table genetics, family interactions
Hmm.
growing up,
Yeah.
personal biases,
Yep.
passion or the lack thereof. And so, what we need to do is either by us or help other people or have somebody mentor into us. What is your best, situation? How do you hone the talents that you have? And therefore, now who do we put in front of each particular client? Is he
Yeah.
data driven? Does he like storytellers? Is he a relationship person? And if now we need to know how to approach that person,
Yep.
either by ourselves or with somebody in our organization who actually has the best opportunity to make that, sale complete, to give that person what they're needing and looking for. That's the long-term solution, not replacing people, but putting
Mhm.
the right person in that situation. And sometimes it's the right version of us.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And sometimes, when we get up to present, a big part of that is the mindset. Do we have the right style of person? Are they data driven? Are they, people driven? What is it that you're seeing? Even task driven people hear things differently. And then we make sure that the person that's presenting that is of the right frame of mind for that
Yeah.
audience. That's a big deal. Really, really good points there, Brad. Appreciate that.
Well, how much of that mindset also runs around, do you believe in the product? Do you believe in the people that you're serving? Do you believe in, I mean, it 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 makes such a difference. Your belief system, I never realized how much my belief system affected my everyday life. I truly didn't until I started learning about what it does, believing in yourself, believing in the people that you're around, believing in people in general. I've always been kind of a cynic when it comes to people, and I'm learning, you know, you have to put your trust in something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, that's a good point. Good point. Anybody else want to share some thoughts with us this morning? I know Randy's normally one to share. He's multitasking this morning. He said, let us know earlier. So we might not hear from Randy, but we do have David on. That's pretty common. So Brad Forkner, appreciate you jumping in and sharing.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm guessing everybody's fairly busy on that end. So, Rebecca, another couple of things that I was thinking about, and Brad Forkner just brought this up actually in the space of speaking, in the space of public presentations, things of this nature. Our mindset when we get in front of an audience, one of the most important things that we need to have in our mindset, in our approach, is how we deliver value, right? One of the things that I've seen a lot of speakers do, and they make a mistake when they do this, they stand on a soapbox, and they'll stand on a soapbox and they'll stand there to be absolutely right. And even though they are right, they come across as being right, which actually turns a lot of people off to their message. And one of the things that I've found is, and I've had to ask myself, if there's something that I know to be true, if there's something that I know to be right, and I'm going to be in front of an audience that is of mixed mindset, a lot of mixed beliefs, maybe some of those beliefs are generational. Maybe some of them are who knows what's coming to the table there. But I have to understand, how do I take this truth? How do I take this idea? How do I take this topic and deliver it in such a way that it brings value to the whole? It brings value to every person. That is a mindset that I have to have first before I can give it to someone else. John Maxwell would tell you, you cannot give what you do not have. And that is so important to have that mindset that what we're giving, what we're sharing, what we're delivering has value for the whole. And then when I'm in a more specific, maybe more specific audience, maybe it's a breakout session instead of a full public appearance. In a breakout session, I can go a little bit deeper because people now are in there for a reason. They're in there to go deeper on a topic. Now, I'm still aware of how I deliver that value, but I do it differently. I'm going to probably go deeper. I'm going to stand more on that truth. I'm going to get very point blank because that's why they're there. That's why they want to be there. And those are things that we have to be very, very careful with in how we deliver things. And it's one of those things that, again, I look at as, do I want to be liked from the stage, or do I want people to follow and engage and connect with me? To be honest, I want the connection, because if I don't have the connection, I won't have the chance to correct. If you don't connect, you won't correct. And I want that connection, if at all possible, when I'm delivering value. I want to bring a connection, even if we disagree on something, I still want to connect. And if I could connect, that opens the door for correction. And that's one of the things that I've learned over the course of time. And sometimes that correction is with me, because I've learned through some of my conversations that my hardcore beliefs on things might be challenged by somebody. And I've had to sit back and reevaluate and look at things from a different perspective. So,
Well, part of that is being that open,
mhm,
open, because, something, maybe, like I said, something that you believed that your granddad told you years ago,
yeah,
and somebody says, no, that doesn't work because of this.
mhm.
And going, huh. So,
Well, and there's a lot of things
You
that
know,
worked in the
in
80s that
marriage,
won't
I
work
have
today.
had to learn to do that.
Really?
Hey, there is a lot of that is truth because
That is true. That is true.
I mean, how many of us
Kylen,
have grown up in our different backgrounds and put those together?
For sure. David, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
going to say there's a lot of things that didn't work in the 80s that are still being done today.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's, I,
Absolutely.
one of the things, working in agriculture, that I get to do is move around a lot of different places, and you get to see some really, really good farmers, and you get to see some not so good farmers. And you kind of wonder what makes, when farmers are less progressive, shall we say, why is that so? What is it that they're not getting that others are getting? And um, I guess it's that they're scared to break out. I mean, farmers probably get 40 chances in their lifetime to get it right. And when your whole livelihood is depending on planting a crop for that year, and turning making money, they're really, I guess, scared to mess with that. It's like, well, I did this last year and it worked, so let's just do it again because I know that I could make money. And it is very hard and often frustrating to get them to open up. And then I try and put that back on my own life and sort of think, what are the things that I don't do that I should do? And kind of look at it from a different perspective. Like, I'm not very good at investments and those sorts of things, as in financial. I'm a complete Luddite when it comes to that. And why don't I know that I should do certain things, and I'm scared. I kind of put that back on where farmers are. But yeah, it's that um, I'm highlighting the problem. I don't really have any answers, but that's why I like to listen to what you have to say, because what is it that we can do to help change those beliefs? I mean, I was just
So,
drove through. Sorry.
so David, can I challenge one of the things you just said?
Hmm.
You made the comment that farmers get 40 chances to get it right.
Yeah.
They may pull in 40 crops, but they have thousands of opportunities to get it right. They get thousands of opportunities to get it right. How many times do they hear things? Do they learn things? Do they go to conferences? Do they go to this? I mean, we live in the information age today where we get bombarded with information, but we don't necessarily believe it. And yet we're having, even inside of a growing season, we get how many chances to change something to make it better. We may get 40 crops. We may get 40 years, but we get thousands of opportunities to make changes.
Well,
And
but trying
sometimes
to
we don't.
decide what is correct for them,
Well,
even
absolutely.
going
It
out
is it is
and
very challenging.
providing them, you're providing them with solutions, but how do you know that that's the solution that they need? How you have to find out what the solution is that they need. So
You're
that's why you're
absolutely
asking
right.
the question.
Well, they have to believe it's a solution too. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
the old
Well, what's one of the biggest mindsets that we have had to work through? This is how we've always done it. I mean, that isn't that the famous words most of the time, but this
Well,
is
of
Yeah,
how we've
course it is.
always done it. We've always done
absolutely. And farmers are inherently conservative by their nature, but why? Because they're kind of betting the house every year, and they're scared
it.
to
Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
make.
messing with your livelihood is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll jump in here for another second because this week I was with a guy that engineer back home to farm. Dad's in low 70s, and it's the two of them. And he wants to do things, he wants to see things, but like you and I and everybody else, he only has so much time to validate.
Right.
And he's got a lot of people been in his ear.
Yep.
And if you're going to come in there to help this guy and truly, be there for him and not for you, you have to sort through what what am I personally willing to go back there? How much time can I give him, knowing that it's going to be my time to make sure it happens because he has no more time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But Brad, the thing that you just mentioned, the fact that he's an engineer, he's not a inverted commas farmer. He might have grown up on the farm, but he's trained his mind in other things, makes him a lot more open to willing to listen to other ideas. And I've found that sometimes the most fertile ground is somebody who's come into farming from a different background, and they're usually they're quite often the most successful. And so it might be a retired doctor or an engineer or somebody else who they're willing to take on a new perspective because they realize what they don't know. And they're probably also, I guess, more financially secure. They're more willing to do something different because seek answers because they know they don't know. And farmers, it's very hard if you're brought up doing something for 20 odd years before you take on the reins yourself. It's definitely ingrained in you, and that's a hard thing to change sometimes. Different generational change, people are more willing to take on technology because they're more familiar with it, they've grown up with it. But in terms of their actual mindset on how people farm, it is hard to break out, especially if dad, the parents are still there and have control. It's
we're just running short on time, David, but I think you're right, and I think this is another topic that we ought to think about for another discussion, maybe an ag specific discussion, because one of the things that I learned many, many, many years ago. Those of you who've heard our story, my grandfather became a very, very successful farmer in the 80s. And that was one of the hardest times in history. But my grandfather had a mindset that was totally different than most of the people in his generation at that time. And one of them was the unlimited opportunities, the opportunities to make a decision, the opportunities to choose wisely, and some of those things, he made good decisions, he made bad ones like everybody else in the world. But that's something that we have to really think about. Randy, you unmuted, you got something you want to share?
Yeah, just one thing real quick. I got done multitasking.
There you go. Very good.
Anyway, when talking about mindset and mind shift, I know we've kind of discussed this before, but for me, it's all about awareness.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and create, and I strive to increase my awareness, not only of what's happening in the world, but what's happening within me,
Absolutely.
and changing, do I think correctly, or whatever that case may be. I had a conversation with a client in Tennessee this week when I was out there, and he's struggling with no-till. He's like, this isn't working, Randy. We got to do something different, and it's not working like they say it's supposed to. And so I gave him some ideas and of what to subtly change. And he's like, that sounds like that'll work. So being aware um, is really the key to mind shift.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's so true in general. The here again, this is why I love agriculture, because like I was talking about the laws of creation, the laws of nature, there's no place you can see this more evident than in agriculture. I mean, it is so relevant. So I know one of those things, Randy, I'm sure what you did is you helped him align a little bit more with nature, is probably what you did. And
Right.
we oftentimes don't even think about that, but that is exactly what we do if we're going to be successful. And this has been a really, really great topic, because it opens up that awareness within ourselves. And like you said, Randy, we have to start here before we can give it out there. And that is an open mind of, how do I look at regenerative ag? How do I look at no-till? How do I look at conventional till? How do I look at chemistry use from an agriculture standpoint? These all come into play. So, and then from a human development standpoint, if you're going to build a business, how do I look at people? How do I look at my team? How do I look at a hiring process? Where do I put blame when we have problems, or blame when we have success? How do I develop the people side? All in our mindset, all where it starts. So I think that's been a really, really, really great topic for today. So I do appreciate everybody jumping on and the great conversations that we had. Rebecca, we should pick this up some more. Maybe go a little bit down another trail with mindset. What we really should talk about, it came up several times today, awareness. One of the things, Rebecca, we should probably do are the steps to growth. There's
Yep.
really 6 main steps that everybody goes through in the process of growth, and that's something that we should bring to the table in one of our Monday mind shifts, is how to build a process, how to build a plan for growth, a plan for success. And again, when you have this plan in place, you don't have a limited number of options. You have an unlimited number of options, but it teaches you to choose well. And that's really what it boils down to. I love what David was saying about agriculture and crop production. Farmers only get 40 years or so, or 40 crops or whatever to make, to get a different result, a different outcome. But we have unlimited options and choices to make. How do we know that we're choosing well? How do we know that the decision we're going to make up front, how do we know whether we're building people or we're building a cropping system? How do we know that the decisions we make up front are going to be effective in the results? How do we know that? And I think those 6 steps, Rebecca, would be really powerful in helping people grasp that understanding, if that makes
Well,
sense.
oh yeah, because I shouldn't say I think. I know it all ties together.
Absolutely.
The 6
You-
steps, the mindset, the mind shift. I mean, it all ties together into that end goal.
Mhm. Yep.
So,
Yep. So we'll plan on that. We'll have a discussion around the 6 steps of personal growth and development, because it happens the same way everywhere in life. That's one of the things you'll learn at the 3I Life. We sort things out, we organize things out. If it doesn't work in all the places of your life, that's why we call it the 3I Life. It's influence, impact, income. If it doesn't work in those 3 places in every aspect of your life, we probably aren't going to teach on it, because those are the things that we're implementing in our own lives, the things that we want to learn and grow with. And these 6 steps will work everywhere. Everywhere you go, these 6 steps will work. So
yeah.
let's bring that to the table,
Plan on
Rebecca.
that.
Maybe we
Last
can do that.
little thing, we are having our 3I Life. We call it our 3I Life, 3I Living, 3I
3I
Living
Life,
training,
3I Life
3I
event.
Life training,
Yep.
living a 3I Life.
Yep.
It does focus on sales, but it is a lot more than that. We do have that coming up November 6th and 7th in Kearney. If anybody on Facebook, LinkedIn is interested in going, or anybody on our Zoom, just let me know. We do have limited seating. So,
Yep.
we are offering this as a free offering right at the moment. And, yeah, so just
Yep.
let me know, November 6th and 7th in Kearney, Nebraska.
Yeah, anybody that wants to attend, anybody that has people in your organization that you feel should attend. We've done this. This has been a $1,600 program in the past, and we decided that we just wanted to give this away. We wanted to give this to as many people that want to be here, and it's a 2-day event. You'll absolutely be so grateful and thankful. We're changing quite a bit. I'm actually not going to use PowerPoint. We're not going to use a big presentation. We're going to use worksheets. We're going to have workshops, and we're going to have, roundtable discussions. This is really going to be focused on growth. It's really going to be focused on taking things away so that you can take it back to your workplace and grow with it. And that's really what we want to be able to do with this. So let's get an audience there, and let's be a part of this. So, all right. Okay, well, God bless, and thank you so much for being a part of this. And I look forward to growing with you next week. Rebecca?
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
All right, see y'all.